into the wonderful world of dark beers.
Cool. I like my dark beer.
Yeah. So we originally went down to Dan's and we found 9 dark beers down there. A mixture of mostly stouts, so 5 stouts, plus a couple of darks and 1 porter.
Mm.
And then later that day we stopped by on the way home at Brendale Brewing and picked up their porter as well.
Mm.
So up until the point where we picked up that one, each of the beers that we picked up, each of the porters and stouts and darks that we picked up, the breweries were all, the youngest brewery was built in the 1870s.
Wow.
That's old.
Whereabouts?
Well, Monteith's is New Zealand.
Yep.
Tui's Sydney.
Yeah.
That's a Czech beer.
Mm-hmm.
That's an English beer. Well, you expect English breweries to be old.
Yeah. So Hooker Norton apparently has been around since 1849.
Yeah. That's the brewery that I told you I want to visit when we go to England.
Oh, yes.
Because they still use shires to pull their carts around and deliver local beers via cart. Yeah.
Wow, definitely have to see that.
Yeah. I do like a dark beer.
Me too.
Yeah. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you get informed when we release new videos. What are dark beers? Dark beers are just beers. They brew them with different malts. So what they do is they'll get specialty malts, and when they've malted, after they've finished malting them, instead of just doing a quick roast to stop them from developing any further, they'll actually let some of that malt go a bit longer. So it actually goes dark. When you look at it, it's got various degrees of darkness. And sometimes you'll get nutty flavours from it, sometimes you'll get chocolatey flavours or coffee flavours.
So is it similar to like a coffee bean? You know how they roast coffee beans?
Yeah, they'll do something like that. But you only use a very little bit of it in your grain bill. So you might use, let's say, if I'm making a malt in my brewery, I might use 6 kilos of Pilsner malt or pale malt. But I'll only use, say, half a kilo of chocolate malt and then maybe 250 grams of crystal malt. So it all depends on the flavours that you want to develop. So some of these brewers have gone for coffee flavours, some have gone for chocolate, and looking forward to that. So colour can range from a mid-brown for a Dunkel, that's a German style, right through to black as the ace of spades. Or as I used to say, black as a mother-in-law's heart. And it depends again on how they brew it and what grains they've used in their grain bill as to what the colour comes out. And there's 2 things to consider when you're talking about beer. One is the IBUs, and that's International Bitterness Units. And that tells you how bitter the beer is going to be. So that'll range from fairly low to fairly high. So these beers will probably all be fairly low in bitterness, but then you get things like NEPAs and other IPAs that will have a very high IBU rating. The second one is EBC, and that's just a standard way of measuring colour. And again, it's just a number, and anything over a 22 is considered to be a dark beer.
Okay.
So a little bit of history about dark beers.
Cool.
What's the difference between a porter and a stout?
A porter is lighter in colour a little bit.
Yeah, probably, possibly.
It's not as it's not as creamy. Like a stout can be quite creamy and
particularly Guinness because they use nitrogen.
Yeah.
So it does come out very creamy, but you can't. A lot of stouts. So, for example, an oatmeal stout uses oats as part of the grain bill, and that will come out nice and creamy as well.
Okay.
But the main difference is the strength of the beer. So originally, porter was the original dark beer, and it got its name because all of the railway porters used to like drinking it. So it was brewed for them.
Okay.
And this is going back a long, long, long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where do the porters and stouts originate? So I'm assuming
Europe.
Europe.
Yeah. I haven't delved that far into them, but I'd imagine probably England. But then the rest of Europe wouldn't have been far behind.
Yeah.
And stouts get their name because they were originally called a stout porter, and that's because they were a higher alcohol.
Okay.
So Guinness was originally called extra stout porter.
Right.
Yeah, but then it just became Guinness extra stout. So over the years, the two styles have developed a little bit separately. There's a lot of confusion, I think, for a lot of brewers. Some will call a 9% beer a porter, when really it should be a stout.
Okay.
Because it's got that stronger alcohol content.
Right.
And some will call it a stout when it's 4%.
Okay.
And that really should be a porter. But the two terms are largely, I think, interchangeable now.
Well, not if you're true to your beer.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be interchangeable.
Yeah.
I think I think too there is a different taste. So between a porter and a stout.
Yeah. You will get different flavours from them.
Yeah.
And I think the styles are starting to develop it as well. But like I said, there's a lot of crossover in breweries now as to what's a stout and what's a porter.
Right.
It comes down to marketing. What do they want to market it as? Do they want to market it as a porter because that's different to a stout?
Yeah.
And make themselves seem a bit different? Or do they want to call it a stout when it's really a porter just because stouts are popular? So there are lots of different types of porters.
Yeah.
Again, within the style, there are styles within the style. So the originals are the English porters, and they'll call themselves either English porter or brown porter or English brown, some sort of combination of that. And that's just because they're trying to separate or differentiate themselves from the rest of the market. There's Baltic porters. That's a European style. Tends to be a bit stronger, and they tend to brew them with lager yeast, so they're a cold fermentation rather than a warm fermentation.
Yep.
American porters, so I've actually got the BJCP style written down here. It's a substantial malty dark beer with a complex and flavourful dark malt character. And they're typically usually a little bit stronger than their English counterparts.
Right.
Then you get robust porters, which is a very dark porter, and you can, depending on the yeast that they use with that, you might get some fruity flavouring and fruity esters in that.
Right.
So you might get hints of peach or pineapple or things like that. And then you get smoked porters. So you get those, but you don't like smoky scotches, but you like smoky porters.
Smoky scotches are just all wrong. Scotch is all wrong. Sorry, blasphemy.
So they'll have some smoke presentation in them.
Definitely, I think temperature plays a big part on the taste.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yes.
Of your beer.
Yeah.
Like that's what I'm starting to realise now that I'm drinking for experimental purposes and for the experience instead of just drinking for drinking.
Experimental purposes.
Well, it is experimental because we're not just sitting here drinking. Like we are sitting here drinking, but we're not sitting here drinking just to have a drink.
No.
We're trying to learn about beers, and like we're trying to take you on a journey as well, and hope that you want to do the same thing instead of explore different beers and explore and experiment and try different things. I mean, I'm really big on I'm going to bring food into this if you let me.
Well, these two beers I would never before now have even tried. I wouldn't have even considered them.
Yeah.
But they're great beers.
They're nice beers.
This is a very sessionable beer. You could sit down and drink that all night. This is just a delicious beer.
Yeah. And it's the right time of year. I wouldn't drink because these are actually a warmer beer. I don't know whether I'd drink any of these in summer. Not in Queensland.
No. In summer you want a session, or you want to smash.
Something cold.
You want something simple, so you want to smash.
Yeah.
So smash stands for single malt and single hop.
Okay.
So it's a very simple beer to brew, very tasty if it's done right, very easy to drink because you're not overloading it with flavours and adjuncts and this and that and all the other stuff. It's just a nice beer to drink.
Simple beer,
on an
Yeah, but we have
afternoon.
we have four taps.
Yeah.
So you can't just do one beer on 4 taps.
No. You put
we like to have different beers.
a number of beers on, but in summer you want a different style of beer to what you want in winter.
True.
Which is something I probably wouldn't have even considered 2-3 years ago.
I know.
Just go down and buy a slab and bring it home and drink it.
Yeah. I know. I mean, I'm the same. Now it's more like, and it's an experience. It's not a just have a beer.
No.
Grab a beer and have a drink with some friends. It's actually, even when I went out on the weekend.
And share the experience.
Yeah, even when we went out on the weekend, which is not me and you, but I went out on the weekend and we went around the world.
Yeah.
We tried to. So we went to Mexico and then we went to Germany and then we went to Lebanon. And the Lebanon beer was really, really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very, very nice. It was totally different. So yeah, I'm trying to drink different beers and different tastes and...
Well, maybe we head down there one afternoon and have a beer and do a short on it.
Yeah, there's a world of different beers out there. Like we get so stuck.
Yeah.
We get so stuck in our things. And I think the craft brewing scene is changing that because people are looking for different. They're not looking for the standard
and they're willing to pay for it as well.
Oh, some are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, some are. The people who want to enjoy it are the people who just want to get drunk. Just go out and buy a 30-pack of Great Northern or a slab of New or a slab of 4X.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to...
No, we're not reviewing 4X.
No, but we're not going to run other beers down. Like,
no.
We don't want to
I'm not running them down. They've got their place. And people who want to just go to a party on a Saturday night and drink a lot of beer and have a good time, that's all fair play to them.
Yeah.
But I think I'm past that now.
Yeah, I think I'm past that too. Actually, no, I've realised I'm very much past that until last weekend. Goodness me. I'm no longer 30.
Anyway, that's it for tonight.
That is for tonight.